It's strength in finding resilience beyond your circumstances. What is up, you guys? I'm Zakia Monet, and welcome to the Finding Your Way podcast, where we share stories about hardships and share ways to not let our circumstances define us. Like you, we just here to find our way. What's up, you guys? My name is Zakia. I go by Zakia Monet on all social media platforms, and welcome to another episode on my channel, Finding Her Way, where we talk about all things as far as trauma goes, where we talk about how to navigate those traumas, how to get through those traumas, and how to come through on the other side. So this journal prompt, like we do in all entries, in all episodes, we do a journal prompt. So this journal entry would be, if you had the perfect view of co-parenting, what does that look like? What would that look like for you? If you had the perfect vision of what co-parenting was and what that looked like explain that, write that down in your journal, or you can write down in the comments, whichever one you prefer. So let's get into this channel. So like we do in all episodes, we do a journal entry. This journal prompt would be, if you had the perfect vision of co-parenting, what would that look like for you? You can write that down in the comments, or you can journal it. Just describe down to a T what that will look like for you. As someone who has been through trauma myself, co-parenting looks a lot different right now. Because like at the end of the day, you're trying to co-parent, then you're still trying to hear from the person that you're having to co-parent with. So that is a very difficult thing for me. I'm trying to take the feelings out of it. I think I've been doing a very good job. I've always done a good job of taking the feelings out of whatever me and him had going on and making the focus on the child. But it hasn't always been a thing when the other party doesn't want to keep the focus like on that. They don't want to keep the main thing the main thing. The child is the main thing. They want to keep the focus on what you got going on, or what you doing, or who you out with. Like that has always been the focus for the other party, when the focus for me has just been on my child and how can we move forward from this, regardless of what me and you've been through. Like how can we move forward with that? Like that's always been a struggle for me, having to co-parent with someone who is not on the same, I don't know if it's maturity level, like I don't know, but who is not on the same level as you, like mentally, when it's as far as like wanting to just who is not on the same level as you as far as wanting to just make the best, like just give your child whatever has been lacking before when it comes to that relationship. Just giving your child something, that's not so toxic or dramatic. Like just giving your child something different, which has always been my focus. Being that my son has witnessed a lot, has seen a lot of things, it's very difficult for me to sometimes have clear eyes or clear vision of that other person, when it's just like that was the person who has took us through these things. And it's like I'm trying to put that aside to, keep the focus on the child. So like if you have been through, some things like that, what are some tips that you would give somebody? Write them down in the comments. Like, let me know, like, give me some advice or some tips, because like I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure out how to be, how to not, go tit for tat, how to not, go into this co-parenting thing with hurt eyes and a hurt view and a hurt vision. Although I still want to protect my child and make sure my child is okay, I still want my child to have some type of relationship. But I also understand sometimes like that's not always, the parent is not always ready for that. Like sometimes you have to come to the conclusion, or you have to come to the realization of like sometimes like the parent is just not mature enough or ready mentally to be the parent that you need them to be for your child. So I have to also, understand that and not push that agenda on my son that, like without bashing the parent, because you don't want to bash the parent to the child, because the child is going to see what they're going to see regardless. So you want your child to form their own view or their own vision of the parent. You want, you don't want to push like what you feel off on your child, and I try not to do that. I feel like I have been guilty of doing it as far as like, like when it comes to not wanting my child to see, you know, the other parent, or, you know, not wanting my child to be as involved with, you know, that and all those other things. I feel like that's a form of me protecting. So I don't know if that's like, I don't know if that's me projecting on him. I don't know if that's that. I don't know, but you just don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you're quick, like you're being reasonable, and you're allowing your child to form their own opinions of their own, because they're going to see it. Like these kids are so smart these days. Like they are so smart. They understand and know what's going on. They see it firsthand. They see it. So it's no need for you to push that agenda on them. So I've been making sure that that's being one of the things that I don't do. But it's just like so hard for me. Like I try to. One thing about it, I try to, I feel like I do a very good job of making sure, like, I'm not bashing the child's father in front of my son. And I'm just like, I'm conscious of like how I move and what I say. Like if I'm having a conversation with him, I'm trying to be more conscious about like what my son is hearing, and how, because he doesn't like arguing, he doesn't like fussing. Like he's so mentally drained from that portion of our lives. He's seen so much, so he's so drained from that. He gets so emotional about it. Like if he hears me yelling, or if he hears like some back and forth going on, he gets so, and I feel like a part of that is him feeling like fearful, because because back in the day, whenever me and his father would get into it, like in turn that would result in him pulling up and him showing out outside of my house. So I feel like my son still gets fearful of that, you know. So I'm trying to, you know, like keep all of that to a minimum, making sure like my communication with him is to a minimum. I feel like that's probably a good thing to do when it comes to co-parenting with the opposite sex, or with, you know, whoever. I feel like that is the key, probably keeping communication to a minimum. And, you know, just keeping, like, making sure you're at least keeping the focus on the child. You know, if the parent's not ready to be a parent, then you can't force them to be a parent. You just can't do that. So, I mean, you just got to do what you got to do. I mean, right now, it's very stressful having to be, you know, the main parent, have to be, you know, the only one, you know, doing these things, because I want to have a cool relationship with the child's father, regardless of what we've been through. I want him to heal. I want him to get over whatever it is that, you know, he need to do for himself. But I'm not opposed to us having a cool relationship. Like I would like that. I would love that, actually. You know, like we don't have to be buddy, but I at least want to tell you, know, well, your son is doing this at school. Your son, you know, he's making good grades. He got a good report card. You know, like, do you want to take him out, you know, for something like that? You know, do you want to do something with him? And I want to feel comfortable with that. I don't want to feel like I have to, you know, keep checking on my son, and even though like that's what I'm gonna do anyway, because I'm a mother. Like that's just what I do. I just want to be able to feel comfortable enough with my child, you know, for him to go over there and know that he's safe, and know that nothing's gonna happen to him, and know that he's, you know, comfortable in all aspects. But we're not there yet, so I have to also keep that in mind, and not pushing the agenda on my child of forcing a relationship with his dad. He wants one, like he does want one. He loves his dad, of course. He's always loved his dad. It's just like the things that come with it. So he's also come to the realization of like it just is what it is. But that's also in turn made him so attached to me. And that's hard for me when it comes to like dating, or when it comes to me wanting to do stuff on my own, or me wanting to just have some me time. He just be like, what do you need me time for? You're a mom. Like, you're supposed to be with me. He doesn't understand that. So I'm trying to get him to understand, you know, like, you don't have to walk through life in fear, you know? Like, you're okay. I'm gonna make sure you're safe. Like, if that's the last thing I do, God gave you to me for me to protect you. Like he's the overall protection, but he gave you to me for a reason. So I'm going to be here, and I'm going to do whatever I need to do with my power to protect you. So it's no need for that. Although, like, I know it's inevitable for him to not feel that. So that's why therapy has been so important for me. It's just finding the right therapist for him, and finding the right fit for him, or finding like even a mentor for him. So that's just been a whole thing. So it's just like we just been having a time. I've been having the time trying to figure out this whole co-parenting thing, and what is the right thing, what is the wrong thing, you know, like how much communication is too much communication, like knowing my limits when it comes to him. I feel like that's a good thing too, knowing your limit when it comes to the other person. You know, because sometimes they'll try to pick or nitpick, or they'll try to poke you into, you know, like getting there, taking it there with them, and you just don't want to do it, because at the end of the day, you're gonna end up feeling bad. Because every time that it came to that where I feel like he drew the line, and then I retaliated and I said something back, or I said something hurtful and stuff like that, I ended up feeling bad about it, because it was just like not feeling bad for him, but it is like I feel bad because I let him take me out of that, even though I'm, you know, because I'm on this healing stage and I'm trying to heal, and I don't want to hurt anymore. I don't want to be, you know, crying all the time. I don't want to, you know, go through life not trusting people, and, you know, like distancing myself from certain relationships, or stopping certain relationships at a certain point if I feel like I'm, you know, giving too much, or I'm telling them too much, or I'm letting them in too much. Like, I don't want to do that. So in order for me to do that, I have to know my limits with this person, the person that has hurt me, you know, the most. So I have to learn how to navigate this relationship in order for me to move on in another relationship. So that's why it's so important for me to figure out, you know, this whole co-parenting thing, or even if it's even worth, you know, figuring out. Because that could be a thing too. Like, is it even worth me trying to figure this out? Is the relationship worth it? Like, is he even mentally ready for that? Because, like, it's just been a thing where my child, like, it hasn't been a consistent thing. Like, it's always been an in and out thing. And so it's just like, does my child deserve that? I feel so bad for saying this. Like, I really didn't mind if they didn't speak until my child turned 18, to where like they could then form their own thing. But I know, like, that's kind of selfish of me. But sometimes I feel like that's just probably the best thing for me to do. Like, if the parent is not consistent, or if the parent is not showing up in the way that you needed to, regardless of what else is going on, or if there's a court order in place where you can't see the child, or if it's something going on to that effect, or if the other people are involved, like, it should be some form of communication, you know, going on or happening, to where, you know, like, y'all just, you know, you're making sure you're doing everything you can for your child to know that you're still here, you still love them regardless of what's going on. So I just, you know, it's been a time. It's been a time, and I feel like that's so important. These videos are so necessary and so important for me to do, because it's not only connecting me with y'all, but it's helping me connect with myself and understand what I want out of certain things and what I need out of certain things. So I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I have these conversations in therapy all the time about what co-parents look like, and, you know, like, if the person is even ready for that, and what certain conversations need to be had, and what certain conversations shouldn't be had, and things like that. Like, this is an ongoing topic in therapy for me. So I'm just trying to, you know, figure out what's right and what's wrong, and what I need to do for myself. Because at the end of the day, if I'm not okay as a parent, if I'm not okay mentally, then I can't be okay for my child. So I have to make sure I'm doing whatever is best, or what's in the best interest of my child, and making sure that I'm keeping, as well as I'm doing that, I have to make sure I'm doing what's best for me, and what I feel comfortable with doing, and what I feel comfortable with allowing to happen as far as that co-parenting relationship goes. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's a very hard thing trying to co-parent with a child that you're trying to heal from as well. Like, that's a very tricky thing, because you're, like I said, you're trying to do the right thing by your child, but you're also trying to do the right thing by yourself, by setting those boundaries and making sure that you're not doing anything that's allowing them to trigger you. And I'm just trying not to be triggered. Like, I just don't want to be sad anymore about it. Like, it happened, I went through it, I made it out. What's next? What are we doing for real? What are we doing? We're not in a relationship. Cool. It's never going to be that cool. So what are we doing now? That's what I'm struggling with now. Like, that is my current struggle with now. Like, I'll be like, y'all know I'm an emotional person, so I'll be crying. I just be crying about certain stuff, because, like, you see how certain relationships are with certain people, And it just be like, dang, like I wish I could have that. I wish we were able to be cool enough to, like have those things, or like have birthdays where, they pop up and it's no bad vibes. It's just cool. Like y'all just co-parents and that's it. Your son have games and you could show up and support. Like that's cool. Either one of us have a partner. Reach out to the partner if we can't get in touch with them. Like that would be a cool thing for me. Like that would be so cool for me. But that was never, like, anytime I wanted to have a conversation with whoever my son was going to be around, that was always an issue. It's not like I don't, like, man, I don't want you. Like, it's not that. I want to know who's around my child. And that's always been an issue too for me. Like that's always been an issue. Like having different people around my kid is just it's not a go. If you're not accepting of that of me, like why should I be accepting of that of you? But it's like for me, like I don't even care. I just need to know who's around my child. Well, I do care. I need to know who's around my child. I need to make sure that, like they are, mentally capable and understanding that it's nothing here and that we're able to communicate about our child. Because there's so many women and girlfriends There's so many women and girlfriends who have been in the news for doing stuff to stepchildren, killing stepchildren. Like, it's just been that. Like, we're not going to act like that's not a thing. So I need to know whoever's going to be around my child. So it's just like, for me to not be able to have that, it's just like, damn, like we're really not at a level of maturity to where we can like have that. And, it sucks. It just really sucks because it just makes you feel like, it just takes you through a loop of emotions, honestly, especially for me, because it's like I'm already doing a lot on my own. It's just like you can't even co-parent. I'm not even asking you for anything, so the least you can do is like try to co-parent with me. I feel like that's the least you can do. I don't know, am I wrong? Like, have y'all, like, I don't know, I feel like this is a common, like, it's more common than it should be. I'll say that, because it is a lot of great relationships that I've seen that has worked for people, and I love that. I just wish, I could get that. So I just, like, I don't know, I'm just still trying to figure out that and understand my boundaries, and like what I want. What a good co-parenting relationship looks like for me. So I think I'm going to write that down. Write down, like what I envision that to look like, and then like pray on it, because that's really all you can do when the other person is not really accepting of that, or their mood changes every day, and it's not you're not gonna get the consistent person every day. So I just have to, pray on it and like just hope for the best every time. Because I feel like I don't really have nobody in my corner but me. So it's just, my mom, But I don't know. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing trying to do. And it's a hard thing trying to be the mature one all the time when you're the one things have been done too. So I'm trying. It's also, for me, it's also a thing of getting out of the victim mentality of like, well, you did this, like you, like this person hurt me. Why should I have to be the one to reach out or try to make a relationship or try to be nice and like try to do all these things with like, I don't know, I guess it's a thing. I was talking to my therapist and she was like, she made me come to the, like, I had heard it before. I think I was listening to Megan Ashley's podcast, and I think she was talking to a lady named Sarah, and they was both talking about divorce. They had both been through divorce, and they were both trying to co-parent, and I guess they went through a lot within those divorces, or mentally, like it took them through a loop, and they had to realize that this person is a child of God as well. God has to cover them as well. God has to love on them as well. This is your brother or sister in Christ. So as much as you want God to be like, well, all over you, you have to, allow like God to give them some grace as well. So I'm trying to, like, it took me through a loop because I heard it from them, But she said it in therapy, and it was just like, okay, gosh, I hear you. But come on now, look who we're talking about. Like, that was just my mentality of that. Like, it was just like, wow, God is so funny. It was like he is just so funny. Like, he is just a comedian. He is just so funny. But I'm gonna continue to journal about these things until I'm continue to pray on these things and hope for the best, pray for the best, and at all times, at the end of the day, I'm gonna make sure I'm doing whatever is best for not just my child but myself. So advice, like, whatever. But I just I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing at all times. Like, I'm doing what's best. I don't want to have to second guess what I'm doing, or I don't want to feel like, am I doing the right thing? So I don't know, but that was all from my venting session today. I hope you guys got something out. I hope it made you think. If this is something you're currently going through or have been through, like, leave us some advice, or let me know, like, what's going on. We can talk about it in the comments. Leave us some advice if you have been through this and made it to the other side, because we really need that right now. I just needed to vent. I hope y'all got what I was saying out of it, because I feel like sometimes I can be all over the place. So I hope you understand what I'm saying. I hope you get what I'm saying. I always pray that God speaks to me every episode that I do. So I hope that was clear. I just pray that, we put yourself first, in any relationship, put yourself first. Make sure boundaries are clear. Make sure boundaries are not only clear to them, make sure it's clear for you. So you're not, like, seeing a blurred line, or you're not always crossing them or overstepping them. Just make sure you're doing whatever is best for you and your child, Like, at the end of the day, because that's all that's important, especially if you're someone who's healing from the person that hurt you, that you had a child with. Like, just make sure those boundaries are clear, are super crystal clear. Like, do what works for you. If no communication, but y'all still, like, if no communication, like, as far as, like, outside of the child is what works for you, do that. Keep the main thing the main thing. Keep the child the main thing. That's it. So that is all for this episode. Like I said, I hope you got something from it. Like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed and took at least one thing, if any, from this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share us with a friend you know. Follow us on Instagram at findingherwaypod, and send us letters or questions to askfhw@gmail.com. We hope to hear from you in the next episode.